Good morning. So today we're going to learn how to sew on a button. So you've already threaded your needle, you've double knotted it. Hello, double knot, and you have your needle. Woo! Okay. So there are a couple different types of buttons you might be putting on. A 4-hole or a 2-hole typically are what you're going to be doing. So the first thing you want to do, so I'm going to show you a 4-hole because a 2-hole uses kind of the same concepts but is easier. So if you have a 4-hole button, you're going to put it wherever you're putting your button. You're going to get your needle and your thread, and you're going to push it through the wrong side of the fabric and through one hole. You're going to pull it all the way through. Great. So now you've done that. Then you're going to push it through the opposite hole. So what you might do, it doesn't I'm looking at my buttons right now. Yeah, okay, so you're gonna push it through the opposite hole. So it should be making a little X over your button. I'm actually gonna pick this up and sew it 'cause it's gonna be a little easier. Oh no, it's gonna be a little easier for me if I do it that way. You will want to do that until you can get your button firmly in place. You'll need to hold it to your fabric. So if you see, I just made a thing like that, and then I'm gonna come up through this other hole, and I'm going to go back down. And this should be fairly easy. So you're just, like I said, you're just making a little X. You should always be trying to come up through the same holes. So if it doesn't really super matter, unless you were gonna go into actually sewing as your life, then you might wanna pay attention to what you're doing when it comes to sewing. But look, so I've made this nice little X, and I've done it in blue so you can see it. But I've made this nice little X on the button, and you wanna do this a few times, probably 4 or 5 times through all the holes so that your button is firmly attached. So I'm just gonna do this a few more times. Fun fact, did you know that whenever you buy a button-down shirt, it always comes with extra buttons that match? That's what those extra buttons that are I think they're typically at the bottom of the shirt. Yeah, they're at the bottom, hidden underneath. That's what those buttons are for. So if you ever lose a button, where'd I come from? Where'd I come from? Where'd I go? So if you ever lose a button, or if it snaps off because you're being too violent with your clothing, your button-up shirts actually provide you with an extra so that your buttons all match and you're not looking a little ratchet. So I'm gonna do this one more time through each hole. The actual attachment of the button is fairly easy. Where's the hole? You can do it. There you go. Hello. Okay. So you've gone through a few times. You have this nice solid X. I'm going to pull that so it doesn't look ratchet. So you have this nice solid X on the front. See how cute it is? And you pull it, right? You can see it's attached to the fabric. The back should look something like this. That was a little messy. But the back should look something like this, where it makes kind of this diamond shape, because that's how you're sewing. Then to to be done with your button, all you're gonna do is you're gonna push the needle through the wrong side of the fabric, but not through the button. So it's gonna look a little bit like this. I'm gonna try and show you as best I can. So see, I'm coming through the fabric, but not through the button. Okay, so now my thread is underneath my button, but on the side you want it to be on. You're going to wrap it around your button a few times. This helps first kind of solidify your button, and also it helps you give some space so that your clothes can actually be in the button. So I've wrapped it, I don't even know anymore, but you probably want to wrap it. Oh, and I messed up a little, but that's okay. So you don't want to mess up like I did. You want to make sure it wraps around underneath like this. So I messed up here, but I'm gonna keep it because it's good to show that you're a person and make mistakes. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna push it back through the fabric the same way that you attached it, that you came through. So I'm going back under. There's another way you can do it too, but I'm gonna show you this way. I'm gonna push it back through. Great, and now we're gonna just be working on the wrong side. You're going to, in the center, you're going to just push it through to get some of the fabric. You're gonna do that a few times. This just helps strengthen your stitch and keeps it in place. You want to try and keep them together, but if you can't, it's, you know, not the end of the world, just like minor end of the world. Oh, you can go back, come on, thank you. So you're pulling it through. So I've done it, I did it about 3 times. That's about as much as you need to do it. You're gonna do it again, but this time's a little different, so watch closely. So I've pushed my needle through. Whee! Great, I've pushed my needle through, but I'm leaving this little, where'd it go? Oh, I pulled it apart. So I'm leaving this little loop because then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull my needle through this loop and it's going to make a nice little knot. Ta-da! And even then my knot was still a little messy, but I made a nice little knot for you. And then you're just gonna snip, snip, and you're all done. You have sewed a button on. If you're doing a 2-hole button, the process is almost the same, except you would just have 2 holes and then you would just be looping over and over. So you're just like looping it. If you have a choice, a 4-hole button is always preferable because it is a little more sturdy. Because you're stitching in multiple directions, so it is a little more sturdy than your 2-hole button. If you have a weird type of button, and I don't think I have any, I think all the buttons I've got for y'all are 2 or 4-hole, but that is the basis of how to do a button. Bye.